Oh, what are we into? This one's really more one for Linux tomorrow, unless you have anything to say on it. Okay, while we're on the topic of Apple, what do you think about this whole Camera Plus thing?
Honestly, when I found out about that, I was looking for some sort of similar functionality on my phone. I mean, you found out before the show, I found out a way to make the default camera app do what I wanted to. But like, if on an iPhone, you only have so many buttons, it's like...
Oh, and it's obviously...
How many buttons do they have?
They have the volume buttons and the power button, I believe, is what they have.
They have the home button, too.
Yeah, they have the home button, but the home button's integral to menu functionality. I wouldn't see you co-opting... If you co-opted the home button in an app, you'd cause navigation problems. You would.
Yeah, and that would definitely be bad design, but for those who aren't aware of the whole Camera Plus thing, what happened there was that Camera Plus added a feature to their camera where you could actually take pictures or whatever using the volume buttons on the iPhone. And this was as a workaround so that you wouldn't have to fumble around the touch screen trying to find the button if you're like doing a self-photo or whatever. And I thought that actually sounds like a good idea. Why is Apple banning this?
Well, because it's
against.
Well, no, it's against. That's one of their rules for why they ban apps. If it duplicates functionality of anything Apple does or alters functionality of anything Apple has set, and that for that to work, it's altering the functionality of the volume buttons to do other things. However, this is a much bigger issue than just that. This isn't just the issue of, okay, why is Apple against users having a better user experience? You know, that's enough of a loaded question. Why is Steve Jobs not want users to have the best possible end user experience? That's not even a big loaded question here. This app is no longer in the Apple marketplace. What it was they released an update for it that would turn this functionality on. Apple rejected the update, citing the thing we're talking about. We don't think the end user should have a better user experience. We've got it perfect, and any altering of the user experience for any reason whatsoever is strictly forbidden on the iDevice world. That's not the big thing. The big thing is this app was submitted to Apple, put through Apple's vetting process where Apple is supposedly looking at the code. And in this code was the ability to turn on this clearly forbidden function. So when the update didn't get approved, the app developers went out and posted a tweet, which went through the thing and posted an update in their app, which then Apple removed. But it was the internet. It was out. Everybody knew. They sold, I think, like 500,000 apps by letting people know, well, there's this little hidden function in our application. You have to go turn it on yourself because Apple won't let us turn it on for you. But go in here and turn it on and do that, and here's how you get around Apple preventing you from having a better user experience. The only way that was doable is if the code was there and Apple just ignored it. And that's the big sign here, and it goes back to, how we were kind of, when we were doing that bash on EMIC thing last week, I was like, I wish I could think of a perfect example off the top of my head where Apple's vetting process completely failed to catch code that Apple supposedly doesn't want on a device. Ask and ye shall receive, because here it is. And it's like, this is not malware, it's not malicious, it's not anything like that. This particular code was adding user experience. Apple completely missed it. They didn't notice it, they didn't see it. Until recently, the iPhone had a thing where you could go to a web page and the phone become rooted and could execute and do other things. How many applications are there in the iPhone marketplace that have malware bundled with them just waiting for someone to go toggle switch them on? and other stuff like this that we don't know about. It's like this goes back to the trading liberty for security thing I was making in that thing. They're not stopping this code from getting on the device with this whole vetting process. So what's the point?
Are they even looking at code? I get the impression that when people send these things in for a review, that they're just sending in the binaries, not the source code itself.
I don't actually know the specifics on that, and it was something I actually wanted to talk with Bit about before we did this show, and that just hadn't happened yet. Because Bit would know more than I. He does some iPhone development and other things. So
I know that you have to get it running on the iPhone first, so that would actually hint towards the idea that you're submitting binaries instead.
Yeah, but I don't actually know that for a fact. But yeah, it's like you're saying. And what's really, the fact that Apple just flat out missed this, which is something they adamantly do not want, because the app has now been pulled from the marketplace. It's like, so obviously they consider this a cardinal sin in the iWorld, so why weren't they looking for this code? It's one of those things, they're not going to catch this stuff. And I actually think, even though users would diametrically disagree with me. They're like, well, Android's the one getting viruses, and Android's the one getting SMS things and all that stuff. Here's the thing. Android's already got firewall apps and antivirus apps. It's already got them. They're in the marketplace. They're there. There's going to be more of them. That's going to continue to develop. The fact that these problems exist, and I got news for you. This is evident that these problems potentially exist in mass on the iWorld. It says, but the difference is, on the Android side and the Windows side and the anywhere but the iWorld side, the fact that these problems exist on every single platform is not a dirty word. It's not this thing we pretend doesn't exist. It's a thing, yes, it exists. It's the I reaction to this is it doesn't exist. We're protecting you from it. And people are going to call me the last time I got on this little tangent, people said, well, you're the biggest hypocrite. You say they should open up, but you're saying they should catch stuff like this. That's not. Let me quantify what I'm saying here. Supposedly, the whole reason for this draconian control of the iVerse is that they're going to catch all this stuff. That they're looking at the code and that and things like this, code that was not part of the original application's doing is not there and is kept out of the iVerse. And this is a blazing neon sign reaction that this entire system has failed since day one. This code is in the iWorld. This is code that's forbidden by the iWorld that I would argue is beneficial to the end user. But the fact that this code got through means how much code has gotten through that is malicious and detrimental to the end user. That's because if they miss this, they're definitely missing that too. That's anything to say on that?
No, I have no idea what to add. I wasn't even thinking about that before we got into it.
No, and I'm sure most users aren't thinking about that and thinking about it that way. Well, the flip side of this is that right there was why the fact that you could open Safari and jailbreak the iPhone made Germany's unsecured device list. Now, there was an official warning by the German government against iPhones for that, because they're like, well, this could be executing other codes. There could be hidden code in applications that Apple didn't catch. And here we find out. Well, here's one example of hidden code in an application that completely went over Apple's head. Now, they've patched it now so you can't do the web jailbreak. But, that's one exploit that was taken advantage of that Apple then patched. It's the exploit is taken advantage of before Apple patches it. If there's another exploit like that, we'll find out about it when somebody manages to distribute an app bundled with malware code, and then honestly, it's primed. I see that. And if you, by the way, if you're on an iPhone, patch it. Even though you'll break the jailbreaking, patch it, because if you have an app that Apple didn't catch, that there's malware code in, and with the web page backdoor and stuff, you could potentially have an application on your iPhone with malware that Apple missed, and all you have to do is go to some web page and your phone just starts doing stuff without your permission. It's... Okay.
So do we want to do that Apple employee thing, or?
Yeah, sure. Why? Sure. Why not? Let's get the Apple stuff out of the way.
Okay.
I haven't read all the specifics for this. Have you?
Dang, me neither. No.
Okay. Basically, I'm a little fuzzy on the details here, but basically, an Apple employee was arrested Friday. Basically, they've received over $1 million in kickbacks from 6 major companies in Asia that supply Silicon Valley. Basically, let me see what they were doing. It's like Apple's official press announces, we're committed to the highest ethical standards, yada yada, and so forth. It's like, another scandal for Apple involving misconduct and yada yada and so forth. Basically,
they can't blame the whole company for.
Oh well, no, and I don't blame Apple for this. This is just it's one of those. Yeah, and the guy's been fired, and as he should be. And the FBI is investigating him, but the FBI wouldn't return calls to this story, and saying Apple's beginning to investigate this and find out. So we'll see. It's not really known how many other companies were hurt by these kickbacks and so forth. I'll put a link to the story in the articles here. It's interesting. It's what's going on there.